Good morning, everyone. Thank you for making it to the first meeting or the first class. I'd like to start so that by the end of it, because these are 1 hour sessions, so we'd like to maximize the time that we have so people get to what else they have to do during the day. So allow me to start today's session. My assigned topic today is PowerPoint. I think we all know that those Microsoft packages, yeah. So under, just give me a second. So under productivity skills, there is the advanced Microsoft Office suite and the Google Workspace, and those two are being handled between today and tomorrow. So under productivity skills, I am handling PowerPoint, which is designing and engaging professional presentations. So under productivity skills, there is advanced Microsoft Office suite and Google Workspace and project management tools. So like I said, I am handling PowerPoint today, designing, engaging, and professional presentations. I think we're wondering why we are going through the the Microsoft Office package. So the thing is, we are not Microsoft package. Okay, we are emphasizing how to correctly and professionally use it. So today I'm going to teach how to use PowerPoint and how do you come up with slides, how do you build slides. That's not the kind of work we're going through today. Is how are we using how are we using PowerPoint for maximum productivity. Yeah. So it is boost your productivity skills. My name is once again Israel Omba, and I'm going to be taking you through this. So the first thing that you usually want to lay out before you present, before you even prepare a presentation, you are going to need to know and understand your audience. If this morning I did not know who I'm presenting to, if I did not get, like, we've been engaging, so I know what audience that I have to present to in this class today. So before you prepare a presentation, who is it for? It's the first important thing that you need to ask yourself. Are they professionals? Are they students? Are they potential clients? It says understanding their background helps you tailor your content to their level of expertise and interests. So basically, students, if it is students, for example, you're going to school, you are going to maybe a university, or it is a class, they're going to need a lot of illustrations. They're going to need examples. Some of the things are still laid out. We're going to look at them. But once you know who you're presenting to, you're not going to present to professors the same way you're going to present to students. Okay, professors don't need a lot of these diagrams and pictures flying around the presentations. Just keep it professional. If it says the other category here is industry professionals. Industry professionals do not need a lot of wording. Okay, they don't need a lot of wording. You just throw one word at them and they understand exactly what you're talking about. So you need to understand your audience. Otherwise, you're going to have a bunch of slides. You're going to have like 40 slides for presentation that would have been about 18 slides for those professionals. Okay, most of it will just get past. They'll get bored. It will just get past their ears. So it's very important to know your audience as you prepare the presentation, your PowerPoint. And then the second thing is engagement. Okay, keep your audience engaged by addressing their needs and expectations. So like I said, please write in the comments your expectations of today's course, okay, of today's class. And we shall look at it, we shall go through it, and we shall see if we've covered what you expected to learn, or if we haven't, and how we can address some issues. So you need to keep engaging the people you're presenting to. Do not just show up and then whether it's online or physically, you do not just show up with a presentation and be like, oh, okay, this is it. And you go through the whole thing and they're just all looking at you. Keep it open. Be open to questions and answers, and where people don't understand you. Like it says here, this means providing relevant information and maintaining their interests throughout the presentation. Okay. Maintaining their interests. So you make sure that your presentation is actually yielding. Okay. So you engage them. And then we're looking at how you structure your presentation. So you need to lay out your presentation in a way that is going to be very easy to make sense. Okay, you need to have an introduction, like I did introduce what this class is all about, and then I have the content, and then at the end of it we shall have a conclusion. Okay, so you start with captivating the opening and to grab the audience's attention. Okay, you clearly outline the topic and what you will cover in your presentation, introduce yourself and establish your credibility. I did not take it for granted that you all know me, so I had to put my name at the beginning of the presentation and I had to introduce myself before I went ahead to start the presentation. So it's very important, even if it's your classmates. Some people, I think still at university, or those who went through this, we had those presentations that we had to make in class. I think we can tell how most of them were just really inappropriate. Someone just comes and is doing this and that, and you can hardly understand. You don't even know who they are, but they're in your class anyway. So the same thing applies in any organization, whether it's your workspace, whether it is school, whether you are a guest speaker, wherever it is, you are always expected to introduce yourself before the presentation. So there is an introduction, which you introduce yourself, introduce what you're going to talk to, and clearly outline the topics, and that establishes credibility. Then second is the main content. Like what I'm going through right now is the main content of my presentation. Okay, so divide the presentation into clear, logical sections. Like that second slide had that understanding the audience, and now my third slide is structuring the presentation. So you divide it into each slide should focus on a single idea to avoid overwhelming your audience with too much information at once. So just make it precise. Do not write way too much. Okay, presentations are not supposed to be. Actually, ideally, presentations are not supposed to take so long. If a presentation has demonstrations, then demonstrate. Okay, don't take too much time on the slides. Take too much time showing them exactly what to do. Like I said, next week I have in web development. So in web development, I'm going to take more time practically showing the class how do you do this, how do you do that, how do you develop pages, how do you edit this, instead of showing you the presentation of how to do it. Okay, so you do not put too much information on the slide. Put what is relevant on the slide. Then if it is practical, you show them how to do that. Then the conclusion is you summarize the key points of the presentation to reinforce the main messages. You provide a clear call to action for the next steps for your audience to follow after the presentation. So unless you, even the college professors, they do open up at the end of it. They're like, okay, what are the next steps? Then they follow up. People understand, they not understand. Often I've seen people, even there is, if you've heard of BNI, it's professional meetings by companies, by startups, by individuals, where people, present, they do present. But then someone clearly walks up, presents, and walks away. They really do just walk away. They have not followed up. They have not even asked if it made any sense to the audience. They just walk up there, present, and walk away. It is not a prison. It's not like, oh, you had to really do this. They did not force you into it. Okay. So when you do present, please take your time. And after you do, engage. Okay. Engage the people. So that's just the conclusion bit of it. You always have to conclude. Okay. Next steps and summarize the key points. Okay. Then the design principles. We have all seen presenting where someone walks up to present something. If this morning I'm presenting this and it has too many colors, it has too many graphs, it has too many designs, it has too many fonts. Even you who are just looking at the screen would feel a headache already. Okay, it just gives you a headache. Like, why do you have to go all the extra mile just for presentation? Okay, just keep it precise, simplicity. Keep your slides clean and free of unnecessary elements. So you can see I've not put bullets, I've not put highlighting, I've not all that stuff. It clogs. Okay, it is too much. People are looking at too much visually. Presentation is supposed to be very precise. Okay, so bullets, I understand bullets where it's necessary, but do not put it everywhere. Okay, that's what that first point says. Avoid cluster and information overload by sticking to the essentials. Okay, like today, all my presentations only have the heading and there is a small subheading and the explanation of it. Okay. Then consistency, use consistent fonts, colors, and slide layouts throughout your presentation. This creates a cohesive and professional look. Apply the same style to the headings, to the bullet points, and the body text to maintain uniformity. Like you can see my slides, they are all the same fonts. The headings have the same sizes, font sizes, and even the wording all has the same sizes and the same font. Okay, so you keep it consistent throughout. You don't use the same different font for the first page, for the first slide, and then you use a different slide font for the first slide, and it has a different heading. The heading is too big, and then the second slide, the heading comes down to be a little bit smaller than the first one. Keep it consistent. Okay, same fonts. Keep it. The first font, you find presentations where the first font is blue. Okay, the first heading is blue. The second, first of all, these colors mean they are indicators. Okay, so if I have a key point, I highlight it with a color. So red colors really mean pay attention. Pay very much attention to this. Blue colors usually mean if I highlight text with blue colors or headings with blue colors, it means there is reference to this. Okay, so it means that this. If I have these design principles highlighted in blue, it means that somewhere I'm going to demonstrate. Okay, I'm going to leave the slide and I'm going to demonstrate. So even these colors have meanings attached to them. Okay, red has, pay much attention to this. It's very important. Blue has, there is reference to this. Green has, this is it's optional. You can mean to, pay much attention to it. You can mean to ignore it. It's not that important. So the primary colors actually do have meaning in presentation. So people do not know that. They just highlight headings, they highlight text with any colors that they have. So you need to be careful while choosing this, and you need to be consistent with what? If you've decided to design it that way and all your headings are blue, keep it blue throughout. Okay, do not keep changing. So you do that and maintain uniformity. And then there is visual hierarchy. Use the sizes, the contrast, and the spacing to highlight the most important information. Ensure that your audience can easily identify the key points at a glance. Okay, so that visual hierarchy goes back to the same color codes that I've been talking about. People do not even know that these colors highlighted have a meaning. Okay, if you highlight your text in red, like I've said, it means that this is a cause of alarm. Pay very much attention to this. Okay, so that is the visual hierarchy. Use contrast and sizes and spacing to highlight the most important information. Then the next, we're looking at the using the visuals effectively. How do you have to, in case you have to put, okay, the visuals, how do you effectively use images? Use very high quality images that are relevant to your content. Like you can see, my presentation does not have images on it, does it? However, that doesn't mean you should necessarily not put images. If that called for images, I would put that. For example, in the most practical presentations, I will have images in it. Okay, I'll have images to demonstrate, but I will have to choose the best quality images, not blurry images, not inappropriate images. I will have to put the high quality images. It's like avoid generic stock photos and choose images that add value and context to your message. There are images that we download from the internet and have, watermarks and all that. It clearly shows that, I've just picked these images from the internet. Avoid those ones, please. There are sites where you can pick free images. Okay. There is one that I have quite forgotten. I do choose my best images from them. They have up to 4K images and it is all free. So you choose there's websites where you can get free images. Get free images from there. Just have to type in your title or whatever you're presenting or what it's about, then you can get free images. Rather than downloading, random images that have watermarks, avoid those. It looks so unprofessional. Then charts and graphs, simplify data visualization to make the complex information easily understandable. So sometimes we have to present, for example, statistics, and that kind of instead of putting it in wording, put it in a graph, put it in a chart, and then have people interpret the chart or the graph to the people. It is easy. It's much easy to present. than having all these statistics aligned. So sorry, I'm just trying to have all this. For example, if I have a page with statistics, instead of presenting all the statistics to the people or to the audience, I'm going to just put it in a graph, put it in a chart, and explain that. It makes it more precise presentation. And then it also says use icons and infographics. Use icons to present ideas succinctly. So infographics can help you to present complex information visually, making it easier for your audience to grasp. Okay, that's then typography and color again. Fonts, use fonts that are easy to read. Okay. Yeah, you know, there are some fonts that are like in the italics, some of them are more like calligraphy, some fonts are, you know, you want to make it stylish, but if it's a professional presentation, trust me, you don't need those fonts. Okay. Just not use a font that is very clear and easy to read. Arial, Calibri, all these, like the font that we're all looking at. Limit yourself to a maximum of 2 different fonts to maintain a professional appearance. You can use a different font for the headings and a different font for the rest of the wording, or a different font for the keywords. Okay, just use 2 or 3 fonts. That's it. Do not, you know, people have presentations where I have a different font on every slide, almost a different font color, different font size, a different font entirely on almost every slide. It is so unprofessional. The people presenting to will not take you seriously. Even if it were me, and right now you're seeing a different font on every page, you will not take me seriously, honestly. Then colors, use a cohesive color scheme that aligns with your brand and the theme. Ensure a good contrast between the text and background and hence enhance readability. For example, my background is white, the color of my text is black, which is pretty much the default for most presentations or most presenters. So in case it was maybe an organizational, you can style your slide in the background. You know, they can have a watermark, they can have maybe the brand. For example, if I'd style this Kolaborate, I would have maybe you know, that a styling, a very simple styling. So that is a theme, a theme for your brand. So just keep it simple as well. In case you have to style your slides, keep it simple. Don't put a lot in the background that you can barely see the words even. So ensure to use a good contrast between text and background and enhance visibility. So to that, the colors still, it goes back to the colors, the codes that I've mentioned. The primary colors do have meaning. Okay, the red, in case you use red for styling throughout, then you know red is just styling. But red actually does have a meaning in presentation. Blue has a meaning in presentation, green has a meaning in presentation. So in case you have just chosen to use them as maybe your heading colors, it is fine, but you should know that you cannot split use them for just a particular word. If you highlight a particular word, that color, that has a meaning. Okay, so you should know that, you should have that in mind. So animations and transitions. So you notice that my slides necessarily do not have animations. Okay, because it doesn't call for any of that. Sometimes, for example, if I was presenting to kids, maybe primary school kids, lower level education kids, I would love them to be very attentive. So these animations excite them. So in case I click to the next slide, you know, this the heading will come in an animation, and then the next subheading will come in a different animation like that. Okay, so that goes back to, you need to know your audience. Okay, today I know I'm talking to people who are going to be professionals, or who are already professionals in whatever they are doing. So they do not, I don't need to have bouncing text coming on. Someone starts presenting and the heading is bouncing like 7 times before it settles. The animations and transitions, this heading, it will bounce this heading. It will bounce like 7 times, tap, 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 then it settles here. Then it will wrap up. Then this subtitle, it will also, you know, first go around, and then, you know, those unnecessary animations, avoid them. So like it says here, subtlety, simple, just make it very simple. Use animations and transitions sparingly to avoid distraction of your audience. Just avoid distracting them. So in case I have to add animations, I should know why. Okay, should have a reason to add animations. It's not necessarily that every time you have to add animations. No, you don't have to make it like a movie. It's just a presentation. Okay, subtle effects can enhance your presentation without overwhelming it. Okay, just simple effects can enhance your presentation. In case it's a graph and I'm trying to, you know, present a graph, I need one section of a graph to come up at a time. Okay, that's the only time I'm probably going to use animations. The first section of the graph comes up, I explain that, then another section comes up. If it's a chart or a pie chart, then one section comes up in an animation, then I'm going to explain that section, and another section of the chart comes up as well, and I'm going to explain that, and that's how I'm going to subtly use the effects. Okay, then the purpose, ensure that animations and transitions add value to your presentations. Okay, the only time ever going to use animations if it adds value. Okay, I'm never ever going to have a word bouncing, like words bouncing in your presentation. Then they settle. Then something else comes in bouncing. No one's going to take you seriously if you do that, honestly. So yes, we all know how to come up with these slides. We all know how to add this, but do we know the ethics of using the presentation? Are you going to talk to professionals? Are you going to present you're going to have your PowerPoint professionally built and presented. So the purpose, ensure that animations and transitions add value to your presentations. Use them to highlight key points or illustrate processes. Okay, so if on this page I had a key point and I've been talking and talking, and then at the end of it, I'll probably have a small note at the bottom. So I'll have that coming as an animation just at the end of it because it's a key point. Or illustrate processes. Illustration of processes are the graphs and charts that I've been talking about. It is not just for decoration, okay? Not just for decoration. It is never having those words come on, the bouncing and then what and they fade. You don't do that. Don't do that. Animations are never made for decoration, not in professional presentations. And then content delivery, you need to practice what you're going to present. If today I came to, I prepared my presentations, I already have my presentations for the topics that I'm going to, cover. So if I don't go through all this before I teach it, I have this same topic. I'm not going to teach it the same way in a primary school as I'm teaching today. Okay, I will not speak to them the same way. So I have to rehearse it. I have to go through it. I probably have to restructure it to best fit my audience. Okay, so rehearse your presentation multiple times to become familiar with the content and flow. Practicing in front of a mirror. That if it is a physical presentation, if it is not online like we are having today, if it is physical, if I'm going to stand in front of people, then I need to have myself ready. Okay, so I'll probably record myself presenting this, or I will sometimes you're presenting to clients, you're presenting to your boss, you're presenting to industry professionally. Okay, you don't need to be to look weird. So you just rehearse, practice it. That helps you improve the delivery. Engagement, interact with your audience through questions. And like I told you, in case you have a query, just unmute and say hello. I will be able to hear you, and then we can engage. Okay, that's engagement. Keep it open. Do not dictate, like I've come to present and leave. No, keep it open. Engage. Interact with the audience through questions, discussions, and interactive elements. Encourage participation to keep your audience engaged and involved. Okay, encourage the participants to keep your audience engaged and involved. Just tell them if it is physical, you can even ask questions and help people answer them. And then be confident. Maintain eye contact with the audience and use positive body language and gestures to emphasize your points. Speak clearly and at a moderate pace to ensure your audience can follow along. Some of us have that fancy accent at times when you're speaking in public. So just be precise and be clear, be audible, and be confident in your presentation. And then the tools and resources. First of all, the templates. Use professional PowerPoint templates to save time and ensure a polished look. Customize templates to fit your content and branding. I mentioned earlier that, for example, if I had put a theme on my presentation, for example, if it had been Kolaborate, I would just keep it professional and simple. Okay, I don't need to have a whole graphically built background on my presentation. No, please. Okay, so just keep it polished and customize the templates to fit your content and branding. And then the add-ins, you can explore PowerPoint add-ins like Office Timeline. I think we all know what add-ins are. There are some elements that we can add into our presentation. MLS PowerPoint to enhance your slides with interactive elements and charts and more. So timeline and MLC PowerPoints, it's like you're having this class, but then you can add a chart section to your presentation. You can add a chart that you are building live as you're presenting. Now, for example, I'm trying to explain statistics, but I'm actually, instead of having this for transparency, instead of having these already prepared chats, I decided to come and build the chat with you as I'm presenting. Okay, so these are all add-ins. So in case you need to have these add-ins to enhance your slides, and then feedback, gather feedback from the colleagues, from your colleagues or mentors before presenting. Use the feedback to refine and improve your presentation. This goes to what purpose your slide is for. If you are if you are presenting topics that are, for example, again, if it is just you as a freelancer and you are presenting to a client, okay, they've given you a project. As a freelancer, you are barely going to have to meet them. It's going to be online, okay? So you're going to have to present this to them, okay? So before you do present, the people do consultations. So before they settle with you, they probably have options on the side, okay? They have you, they're asking someone else, they're asking someone else. So your presentation to them is going to have to look good, okay? So come up with the presentations and make some consultations, gather feedback from your colleagues or mentors or someone that would help you make a better presentation, so that by the time you're presenting to them, everything looks good. Okay, because as a freelancer, someone inquiring from you whether to give you work or not doesn't necessarily mean you're assured you have a client. No, they are weighing in their options. So until they've settled with you and given you the work, you need to make a maximum effort. Be it to present everything that you do, you have to go into make, and that is why we're starting with these most basic tools. Okay, because we take this for granted, but then by the time you are really starting with your clients, they'll just look at it and be like, no, if the presentation looks like this, how am I going to give them my work to handle it? It looks so unprofessional. So that's why we're starting with the basics. So you gather feedback and make sure it all looks good. Use the feedback to refine and improve your presentation. So the other tips for an effective PowerPoint design, there is the first one is rule of thirds. Apply the rule of thirds to create the balanced and visually appealing slides. Divide your slide into three by three grid, and then place important elements alongside the grid lines. So the 3 by 3 grid is basically what I've used throughout this presentation. Your presentation might just need to have a heading and then the content. Sometimes the heading was the first and then a lot of content comes next. But if you look at all my slides, it has what we call the rule of thirds. It is 3 by 3 grid in a way that, for example, this topic is in that grid, the first grid, there's another grid, and there is a third grid. So if you look at this, it is one grid, then this is another grid, and the third grid. So this helps to keep my work organized, okay? So all my content, even if it's paragraphs, just keep it in 3 slides, 3 different paragraphs. For example, if this entire page, it have this heading, but it was all content, and it has to have paragraphs, divide them into 3 equal paragraphs. It keeps your work organized, very readable, very easy to understand, very easy to present. Like you can see, that's what we call the rule of thirds. Okay, you literally like balance your work into three grids that are very visually appealing. My slides are very easy to see, very easy to understand. I can explain the rest, but these are easy to see. And then white space. Use white space effectively to prevent cluster and focus attention on key elements. Avoid filling every inch of the slide into content. For example, like I told you, the rule of thirds just helps me have, this. You can see the my spaces. It is very well outlined, rather than having the content of the previous slide and the content of this slide all into one slide. If you do that, every single inch of your slide is going to be, congested. So you need to have the white space. Avoid filling every inch of the slide into content, okay? And then the contrast, ensure that the text contrasts will be with the background to enhance readability. For example, if my text is black, the background should be white. So that's just what contrast is. If you've decided to change the background of your slides, then text should be readable. Okay, the weight of the font should be visible, and the colors should be visible. It shouldn't be very difficult to see. Yeah, but I recommend always black and white is the default. It's most used. Okay, it's most easily seen font, color, and background. Okay, so ensure the text contrasts Text contrasts well with the background, enhance readability. Use contrasting colors to highlight important information. I think I earlier mentioned the colors and their uses. Use examples and case studies, show examples, include examples and well-designed slides to illustrate your best practices. I earlier mentioned that, in your slides, just put the relevant information. If you have to demonstrate anything, demonstrate it outside the slides. Okay, you have a presentation, this is the presentation, but then you want to demonstrate something, demonstrate it outside the slide. Do not make them way too many. Just demonstrate that outside, but then that shouldn't stop you from adding examples. Show examples and case studies. Present these case studies that highlight successful presentations. Analyze what made these presentations effective and engaging. Then interactive elements, like I mentioned earlier, they don't just show up and present and leave. I've seen it very many times. Yeah, there is a time we actually had a session at the Ministry of ICT, and they were introducing a new digital product to us, and they did not engage us. They just showed up and showed us, this is it, this and that. And then the presenter just walked away, and we just all looked at them like, okay, do you just want to show us? Are you just showing off, or do you really want us to use this product? Do you want us to take this product out into, so engage them. After presenting, you need to engage. Okay, polls, put up live polls. Use these polls everywhere, and the Mentimeter conduct live polls. Live polls is just like yesterday when I asked how many people prefer this time in the morning, how many people prefer that time in the morning, but that was in the meeting. So I used hands. In case it is a PowerPoint, you can actually do we know Microsoft 360, there is one which is online. Okay, if I can share a slide, there is this. Let me just share this. This is an online version of the PowerPoint. So in case I'm presenting and it is online, I can put up polls. Okay, put up polls. People can join my presentation and vote. Okay, so there's many those aspects of PowerPoint of your presentation. So you can put up polls and use those. That makes the presentation easy and engaging, very engaging. So that's why it says use live polls, engage question and answer sections, incorporate question and answer sessions to engage the audience and address their questions. Prepare for potential questions to provide throughout the answer. To provide thoughtful answers. Like I said, just in the chat section, just put your expectations and all that. Live polls, I think gone through that. And then in your conclusion, you recap or summarize your key points and takeaways from your presentation, reinforce the most important messages to ensure they stick with your audience, and then provide resources. Offer resources. For example, at the end of this, I'm going to give you a slide tip, like 2 of them. Offer resources for further learning, such as websites, books, online courses. Encourage your audience to continue providing, proving their presentation skills. And then at the end of it, be polite enough to, gratitude. Just say a little thank you for example, I have to thank you for making it this morning and give the opportunity to present to you. And then usually add your contact information in case there is networking and all that. So that graph that you're seeing is what I wanted to give as a demonstration, that in case I have to provide this, to present this, the only time I'm going to use animations, I did not add animations to this one. I'm not going to demonstrate with animations. But for example, I have to demonstrate this blue row. The only time I'm going to use animations is the blue row comes on first, and then an animation with the red one comes on as I present, then an animation with the yellow one comes on. Then I'll go to row number 2 and use animations like that. That is the only time I'm going to have to use animations professionally. Okay, I've been to Oregon before. I've been before ICT, I don't know how to call it, a board of ICT professionals. These people do not want to sit and look at a lot of wording. They want to hear you speak more. No one is going to want a presentation that has, if you actually do present bouncing text and all that kind of animation, they're going to have to tell you to wrap up. Maybe someone just say, please wrap it up, because they are tired of seeing this bouncing text and all that. So that is about PowerPoint presentation. How do you make a professional PowerPoint presentation? We're starting with the basics, okay? As a freelancer, if you cannot, because this is how you engage a client. Engaging, you're going to have to present to them. Whatever project you have, whatever project you're going to run, you have to present it to them. If you present, the first thing the first impression of you. If your first impression to them is that funny, bouncing text and that kind of stuff, then I feel very sorry for you, because I'm going to take it seriously. You have a competitor out there, and they are going to do their work much more professional than you, and you're sorry you're going to lose that. Okay. Um. So that is the end of my presentation. That is what we are covering today. And then I'm going to just share my video in. There is, while you're presenting, especially physically, there is a small tool. Let me just turn my camera on. So if you can see, there is this small tool that you do use for presentation. It's like a pen stick. Okay. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons on it. Okay. So the first button is the slide button. Okay. These slides that you see there. The second button is the up and down. The second two buttons are the up and down buttons. So if I click up or down, then my slides either go up or down. Okay. Then the third one is this laser. If you look at my background, there is that. I don't know if you can see, but there is a laser. It is that red laser. Okay. So if you're presenting physically, always have this on you. It is very. It uses. It has a USB stick that you stick into your computer or laptop. It's usually here, so you can get it out and stick it into your computer, so that when you're going through your presentation, just move your slides up and down, up and down. You don't have to go to your computer to keep clicking, onto your presentations. Okay, so that makes you look much more professional, okay, while presenting physically. So that is it. That is it's a laser pen. You can use it to point at what you're explaining in a particular moment. This is if you're presenting physically to a certain group. You are going to stand out. So these are just professional tips. You don't have to keep on going to your computer to click so that you go to the next slide and do all that physically. You're not going to have someone run your presentations for you so that you keep on telling them, oh, next slide, next slide, next slide. That this thing has about 700. It depends on what you have, but it has a radius. Okay, you can be in a big hall and your computer is way at the back, and you keep on clicking onto the next slide by yourself. Okay, you don't have to ask someone to keep on next slide, next slide. It does bother the presentation. That it does interrupt. So it's just a tip when you're using presentation. It's a small thin laser pointer. It uses Bluetooth. It has that USB drive, that small USB drive that you stick into your computer, and you can click up and down, then click here to go back to the slides. And then it has a laser pointer, that red laser pointer. So that just makes it easy for you to point out exactly what you're explaining. Okay, so it's very important to have that when you're presenting. It's easy to navigate the slides, and that's pretty much it for today. So the other tip that I want to share is many of us are used to Microsoft PowerPoint and all that, but we all know that the authentic versions of these packages are premium. Okay, you have to pay for them, or you have to have a product key, or you have to go to town and ask someone who has a package or a friend to share that with you. So the other option, Microsoft Office, is LibreOffice. I don't know if you've heard of LibreOffice. It is free. It is open source, which means it is free. If I could so LibreOffice has the same packages as Microsoft Office. Okay, the only difference is that it is free and it is open source. It has everything, all the aspects of Microsoft Office. You can see in my presentation there, that's LibreOffice. LibreOffice has, it has, just like you see Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel, all these packages. So you just go to LibreOffice.org. That is the URL or the link. Then you go to download, and then you can download LibreOffice. Business users, there are different packages. So you can, it's just a tip. It's and if you, I think most of you did not even notice, but just a second. If you did not even notice, this that I was using is LibreOffice. It's not Microsoft presentation, PowerPoint. I'm using, if you look up here, it is LibreOffice Impress. Okay, so LibreOffice Impress is the Libre version of Microsoft PowerPoint. It has exactly the same outline. Everything that you do with PowerPoint, you can do with LibreOffice. Okay, so I did use LibreOffice today because at the end of it, I wanted to share that you know what, there is a free tool that you can use, a free substitute to Microsoft Office, PowerPoint, Word, Excel. It does exactly the same thing. Okay, but it is free. So in case you're struggling with choosing a tool to use, you're struggling to choose, you don't have um, Microsoft PowerPoint. So you're asking yourself, okay, so I have to get PowerPoint now. I don't have product keys. I have to go to town to look for this. Someone make you pay for it, or ask a friend who has it, and then that friend, is not available. Just go to LibreOffice.org. Let me just type it in the chats. So that is it, LibreOffice.org, and download LibreOffice. It is very easy to use, same as Microsoft PowerPoint. However, if you're stuck to Microsoft PowerPoint, then that is it. We're coming to the end of this session. So I would like to hear from you in the comments. I'd like to hear from you in the group in case there is anything else. Someone has asked if I could share these slides after the lesson as notes to refer to. Yes, I am going to. Any other questions? Anyone trying to share anything with us? Please feel free.